Okay, Mike.
All right, we're going to go to a 5-pack of McNuggets stats here. I have a headache from that, so we're going to try getting us back on track to reel us in. And ironically, and I swear this was unintentional, our first stats about the Browns running game. I'm not kidding. Against Baltimore, guys, this is actually
Where
this
were
is
you with
relevant.
the analytics, Mike? You're usually always there with the analytics.
Hey, he was not stepping into that. He was like, no, I'm
There
cool.
was nothing I could do there. It was pure chaos. But this is from the Baltimore
Stay out
game.
of the crossfire.
This is from the Baltimore game. This is, I think, important for the Browns moving forward in terms
it's
of
gonna be who
especially
they have to
DTR.
be.
So against Baltimore, they had 12 rush attempts for 31 yards under center, which not very good, 2 yards, 6 per carry.
Right.
But from the gun, they were extremely effective. 24 carries for 147 yards.
No, we don't look at
6.1
yards per carry
yard
anymore.
carry.
That doesn't matter.
Average. 2.4 under center.
does.
6.1 from the gun. Now, obviously, more sample size, 24 to 12, but they were significantly more effective from the run, and that's
Wait,
important.
Gene, why would that be? Because teams are thinking pass and they're catching them off guard?
Well, you talk about shotgun runs?
Yeah, I mean, typically teams will run it under center, but they do run it from the gun. But those stats are
That's for the
opposite ends
season,
of
Mike?
No,
that was
Baltimore.
just against
Just the
Baltimore.
Baltimore game.
Bring them back up.
It was 6
sorry.
yards,
Yeah,
essentially 6 yards per carry in the gun and 2-something under center. Now, I'm sure that every team probably has similar numbers, but that to me seems like it's a really...
I don't know about
No,
that.
That's a
much
big
bigger.
spread.
I think it's unusual. I don't think teams have
Yeah,
similar.
it's
No, I said I think mostly I would guess that under center, the defense knows it's more likely to be a run. So my guess is that you would average fewer yards per carry under center, but that stretch, but 2.6 to 6.1, that's big.
Well, the Browns are running a lot less. You know, I think, who was talking about this? The boot action is just not, like Jake Burns was talking about this when he had a film breakdown. The Browns used to run a lot of stuff under center, and they used to get a lot of give-me throws with Baker Mayfield because of the boot game. And now teams are playing the boot so well that some of those plays and options aren't really there. So, you know, there's not going to be play action a lot. So if you don't have the threat of play action, you're going to have less yards per carry because guys are going to be up there and they're going to be expected to run.
Load the box.
And so the Browns have kind of done a little break tendency. The Browns really have never run the ball really well out of gun. If you even go back to when they had Nick Chubb, they never really ran it that well out of the gun. But here's what you're starting to see. That pull and pin action that they're doing with the guards and the centers and tackles, when that little toss play, Kareem Hunt runs that really well. Guys are now getting downhill, and Jerome Ford is actually starting to run that a lot better. He broke 2 of those plays in terms of that with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He broke a long one against the Seattle Seahawks, and he broke another one, broke a couple of them against the Ravens. So, you know, now that they've got that pull and pin action, they're going to have to come up with something outside of that.
Teams will adjust, right? Yeah.
But they never really did a good job of that before.
I know we're talking run game, but Deshaun has always been a shotgun quarterback. He's very comfortable in the shotgun. And I was talking to him before we knew about the shoulder. I was talking to him after the Baltimore game, and he said that Kevin likes putting him under center at times to try and get certain looks out of the defense. Now, I wish I could tell you what those looks were. He didn't tell me.
Right.
But I think it's Kevin trying to get now whether it's run pass, I'm just telling you what he told me.
Right.
Kevin likes at times getting the quarterback under center to try and get certain looks out of the defense. Now, if that has anything to do with what we're talking about here, I can't tell you.
Do you think they'll run as much out of the gun with DTR
That's
if
a
it was
good
something
question.
that Watson was particularly
DTR
comfortable
only
with?
when he did not go under center at all in college. Straight shot.
No, I know he didn't in college.
But
So they're not
Deshaun
gonna
was the same way at Clemson and at Houston, where he was all shotgun. And
I
he
think
told
they're
me
going to try to make
he
him
loves
comfortable.
shotgun. I would think that
which
you
would
want
mean he'd be out of the shotgun.
Hell, if you can run that successfully out of the gun,
Do they have?
I mean, to your point, teams
do we have
will make
numbers for the
adjustments
rest
to
of the
that.
season on that, Mike?
I'd have to do I went back and watched all the run plays to do that myself. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
wish
sure.
we had a global number too from the
Yeah.
NFL. Like, what are all carries when the quarterback's under center?
Because
what are
I
they
think
average,
there are teams
and
that
what are
run
they
better
average?
with the quarterback under center.
Yeah, there are. Like teams
mean,
like
look,
Baker Mayfield. Baker during those years, the team ran much better under center. Baker was
I know
under
the
center a
Bengals
lot.
run better when Burrow's under center. By the way, a couple of Browns injury updates. DeJuan Jones has some video here just a minute ago of him practicing. So it looks promising.
Wow, that's good.
He's practicing. Juan Thornhill and Marquise Goodwin did not practice, so I got to assume those guys
They
are
are
not playing.
most likely not going to play. And
Yeah.
Coach Tyvis coming up in the TV show in a few minutes has a Coach Tyvis breakdown on why Thornhill has been so important to this Browns defense. How McLeod can step up in his shoes.
good.
They also, the Browns hired Bill Musgrave this offseason as an offensive analyst who specialized in the shotgun run game. It hadn't been great earlier this season.
Right.
I'll do some digging for the numbers, but against Baltimore was at its best. Second stat of the day. it's Jekyll and Hyde Kenny Pickett, and it makes, frankly, not a ton of sense. In the first half of games this season, he's been completely average. 56% dead smack in the middle of the league. 742 yards, dead smack middle, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. In the second half, and mainly the fourth quarter, he transforms into someone he is not in the first 45 minutes of the game. Passing percentage goes up, yards go up, interceptions go down. His QB rating jumps up 30 points. And more importantly than anything else, trailing in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes to go, he's 10 of 12 passing, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 56.3 quarterback rating. The highest you get is a 158.2, damn near perfect. And in 22 career games, he has 7 game-winning drives.
That stat right there is sick.
It doesn't make a ton of
crazy.
sense. I can't really explain it.
I can't either.
But
It makes no
he's
sense.
at his best in the last couple minutes of the game.
I can't think of any other quarterback that's like. There's other guys who are great late in games, but usually they're at least good the rest of the game. He sucks the rest of the game, and he's been really good late in games.
That's when you want him to be good. That's like Deshaun was 6 of 20 in the first half, 14 of 14 in the second half. Like, I know you can overcome what you do in the first half. You can't overcome what you do in the second half if it's bad.
I think a lot of it is, so we look at people who perform well in the fourth quarter as clutch. Sometimes people perform well by sample size. So if you're a guy that starts off slow and you don't diagnose what the defense is doing to you throughout the game.
You're saying he's getting better as the game goes on because what he sees.
It's like going down. It's like being a hitter the third time through the lineup. If you got a pitcher that's throwing BBs the first two times you see him, by the time you get to the third or fourth time at a bat, you on him. You done seen a bunch of pitches.
That's a good point.
He's seeing what the defense is doing, and now he's like, okay,
but that's
I'm more
unusual,
comfortable.
G, for a guy to be that bad for most of the game.
It's unusual.
I mean, he doesn't
Tim
even look like
Tebow had that weird quality too. He sucked.
he doesn't even look like an NFL quarterback most of the time.
Jay, let me ask you a question because I read something earlier this week and I wish I would have bookmarked it because I would love to bring up what the exact numbers were. The overall view was that since they've moved Canada from the box to the field, they've been a better offense. I don't know that there are many offensive coordinators on the field, and why would that help?
I don't know. I mean, AVP is. I know he doesn't call the plays, but AVP's on the field for the Browns. But most offensive coordinators are in the booth.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that. First of all, I mean, they had to try something with them, but it's worked.
Yeah.
I'm not saying their offense is great now, but it was marginally better since they've moved him down on the field.
And I think too, like, how much is this is a function of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense does not allow them to get put away or blown out? If you always got very close games, you give yourself a more opportunity to win some of those games. Because think about it, some people don't get chances for comebacks because their defense the game is over. The offense put a field goal or touchdown on, and the game is now garbage time.
Well, if you remember the first time they played, the Browns absolutely dominated that football game. Going into the fourth quarter, they had the lead. They held Pittsburgh's offense to minus yards in the fourth quarter, yet they lost the game because their defense had the strip sack fumble touchdown.
Those are things that happen. You know, like we say all the time. You know, we go back and forth about run, pass, defense, all this. It's just complimentary football. Yeah, it's complimentary football to know that, okay, I know I got T.J. Watt, I got Highsmith over here, I got a defense that they can't score on. Even if I'm a quarterback and I'm like, okay, I might want to take a deep shot because I'm a little frustrated. I haven't been able to go downfield. He knows in his head, hey, this defense is going to give me the ball with good field position and give me another opportunity to go down the field.
Some quarterbacks work better in tempo too. Yeah. And that's the stat that really jumps out is the 7 wins in 22 games.
33% of the games.
I mean,
he's had a fourth quarter game.
If I'm Pittsburgh, I might want to just start flirting with the idea that you're putting him in a bit of a hurry up, just a tempo offense, because it seems like he operates better out of that faster tempo. Some guys do.
All right, next up is a little love for a guy, David Njoku. This season, he's 9th in the NFL in terms of tight ends and targets. He averages 6 per game, but he's also first among all NFL tight ends in yards after catch average, and he's forced 13 missed tackles, first in the NFL. And that goes back to what Bull said the other day when he carried Geno Stone 17 yards down the field against Baltimore and kind of established his physical dominance. Me and Tyvis did the Njoku strong workout. I'm guessing that's where part of the strength comes from. But this dude has been the hardest tight end in football to tackle, and he has been one of the most important and irreplaceable players in this Browns offense, especially with the uncertainty at quarterback. And Njoku deserves some love because he's been phenomenal the last couple of weeks.
He does, and we were, especially me, we were all critical of the contract extension. in some way, shape, or form. We're glad that we had him, but we thought they overpaid for him. But I think that it's worked out. I'm okay with that move because, God, no telling where this offense would be without him right now.
Yeah, I think one of the adjustments that Kevin Stefanski was making is, I would go back to the first Baltimore game where, Baltimore was really playing with a lot of guys in the line of scrimmage. And so the check release was wide open. David Njoku would check, chip, make sure that everything was squared away, and then he would release downfield. The crazy part about it is now they're hitting those routes. They're starting to realize that, guess what? Those are almost long handoffs. Those are almost screen passes. So he's checking and releasing, getting in the flats. And now when you drop your coverage into zone, what you got is David Njoku with a 6-7 yard head start, and DB's trying to tackle him. And that's why he's getting that head of steam and you get the ball short to him really quickly with a head of steam, he's getting 13, 14 yards because he's such a wiry dude to bring down. I like the adjustment that the Browns have made in order to get the ball out quicker.
I also feel like him being a threat now in the offense helps the running game. I think
for
it's
sure.
something else that the defense has to pay attention to.
And another thing that helps the running game is what a good blocker he's turned into. And full credit for him for that. Because
Absolutely.
it wasn't that long ago, guys. They brought Austin Hooper in here, and David wanted out.
Facts.
And he was trying to get out. And Kevin's the one that got him back in the boat. Not only did he get him back in the boat, he totally turned around and not Kevin, but David turned around what type of blocker he was. He wasn't a very good blocker earlier in his career.
No,
he's
wasn't.
an excellent blocker now. And he's totally bought in. Does he earn every dollar of that contract? I don't know. But there isn't nothing. It's sort of like the left tackle debate and the right tackle debate.
What else are you going to get?
Who are you going to get?
Yeah.
If you move on from that guy, okay, well, fine. What else is out there? And there wasn't. A tight end is another. It's not a left tackle premium, but it's a premium position in terms of what his skill set is. So I'm totally fine with.
Yeah,
we
he's
know
turned it
what
around.
he is.
He has
We know what
turned it
he
around.
is. He's never going to be in the Kelsey category. We
Right.
know that by now. But what he does provide is very good.
He's not in the elite tier. He's
Right.
not Kelsey. He's not Kittle. He's
Right.
not Hawkinson.
He's in that next tier, though, isn't
But
he?
he's in
now.
he's definitely in that. He's moved into that next group. He's probably somewhere like between 6th and 8th best tight end. And even if he's not worth every last dollar, so what? He's worth $1 million less, whatever. At this point, yes, he's finally put it all together. This is clearly he's on his way to his best year. Like Myles Garrett, he stayed healthy this year, and he's those numbers, yards after catch and broken tackles, being the best in the league. He always had the physical skill. But he was always dropping balls, and he didn't use his physicality as much. He's put it all together this year. It's been impressive.
And kudos to the Browns. We killed him. I did when they signed him. I thought it was a bad decision.
He's
We
been
all
rough
I'd
at
hate
it.
to think where this offense would be without him. Mike, number 3.
All right, next
right?
up, this one is this is weird because it makes no sense to me. But the Steelers are 6-3 this year. They have 6 one-score wins. All 6 wins they've trailed. They've been outgained in all 9 games. I can't find a stat, an analytic. This makes no sense. There's no logical explanation they should be 6-3. They're probably more, if you look at the numbers, a 3-6 football team, not a 6-3 football team.
Right.
But somehow
Not
that
even on
dude in the
defense?
picture.
Could you find a stat?
They give up a ton of yards. They forced turnovers. They forced 18 turnovers, which
That's
helps.
the stat.
Yeah,
But-
that is the stat then. And
That's the
and
stat.
you can't measure culture and heart.
And that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin, and somehow this team finds ways to win games
They
in a
do.
probable fashion. And they deserve kudos for
Yeah.
it. But you
It's-
look at the numbers of this team, this is a 3-6 football team, not a 6-3
I agree with
football
you.
team.
It's insane that they're 6-3, but sometimes the numbers don't tell the whole story. And so the Browns are. I mean, the Steelers are a good example of that. I mean, frankly, the Browns are a good example of that.
They are this year.
They shouldn't be 6-3 based
they
on
are.
what they've done offensively, and yet they are too. So
Yeah, you take it.
I mean, now the Browns have turned it around because they've been forcing turnovers and not giving up turnovers in the last couple of weeks. But early in the season, remember they got out.
It was horrible. They were 30th
Yeah.
in the league, I think, in takeaways.
And
or in
so
the
it's
turnover
fifth.
margin. Yeah.
Sometimes you get the breaks in the big moments, and even though the Browns haven't got injury breaks, they've gotten some. They've made some big plays when it mattered, even in a game, and certainly the Steelers even more than the Browns have been outplayed all the time, and they've just made a couple of plays that made the
Let's
difference.
hope that trend changes Sunday.
What that tells me is the same with Baltimore. They don't beat themselves. You have to
Right.
go beat them.
That's
you
right.
have to beat them.
And that's what good teams do.
And the Browns
And they're
did that
never-
last week,
yeah.
and that's
Yep.
what they're going to have to
and
do
they're never
Sunday.
done till it's over.
That's right.
You can't take your foot off the gas against teams
Absolutely.
like that.
All right, what's next?
Last one, we gave Njoku some love. Let's give JOK some love too, because I was digging through the numbers, and it was on this same show last year with DeQuell Jackson, who's our guy. I was like, I'm not sure this dude's an NFL linebacker, and this year, he's been stellar. He has 16 tackles for loss or no gain this season. That's tied for
crazy.
first in the NFL with Fred Warner.
Wow.
It's already a
That's
career high.
unbelievable.
That is absolutely
He's on pace
unbelievable.
this season to set career best in tackles, sacks, tackle for loss, which he's already set. Fewest missed tackles. That says missed tackles, but it's fewest. He's only missed 1 tackle this season. He's missed at least 8 in his first 2. And fewest completions allowed. He's only allowed 6 completions against. It was in the 20s and 30s, which is pretty standard for a linebacker. That's actually it's not a bad number.
Right.
But it's 6 this season. He's on pace to allow 12.
The tackles for
which
loss
would also
is
track
nuts.
as one of the tops in
That's
football.
crazy.
I don't want to discount the work that he's put in because I'm sure it's been great. But Jason, isn't that just the Jim Schwartz factor? That he's using the guys that he has to their strengths, and he looks like a completely different player than he did last year.
And I think a lot of that is he's not fighting off linemen. You know, that when you fix the defensive tackle issue, when you fix the up front issue that they had last year, how many times we say it, fix the defensive tackles, everything on this defense is going to look different. And that's, I think, is a huge part of it. Obviously, they had a ton of injuries last year at the linebacker position. So now he's in a spot where the guys up front create all the chaos, and he just comes in and cleans it up. It's the perfect role for him. He's excelling in it. He's thriving. And, you know, I don't know if he could have done this in Joe Wood's scheme or not. I still think Joe... There's a lot of problems there, but he had car mechanics as defensive tackles last year, and you saw what happened as a result. And when you clean up the middle of the defense, now you're seeing what a massive, massive difference it makes. And the trickle-down effect is guys like JOK and Grant Delpit having monster years.
We don't follow every team as closely as we follow the Browns, but I'd be hard-pressed to find a player in the NFL this year that has improved more than JOK.
I totally agree.
I mean, he went last year was one of the worst linebackers in the league. This year he's been one of the best. I mean,
DeQuell literally said, I'd cut him.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. When
and none of us disagreed.
he was
how
horrible.
could
He was horrible
Based
last
on what
year.
we saw. All right, Mike, is that your last stat?
That is my last stat, and we actually have a special surprise for you guys here, but in 10 minutes we go to